Stay on top of stories about stocks that may impact the market or your portfolio today in Stocks Making News.
Well, General Motors posted some nice U.S. sales figures in November, a nice gain versus November of a year ago, but that didn't really move the stock price all that much. Here to talk about that with me and try to figure out why, Tracey Ryniec and Dave Bartosiak. As always, we're going to try and dig into this particular story. This is an interesting one, Tracey. Another one that has two sides to it, right? The positive and the negative. So the sales increase of U.S. cars for GM or U.S. sales for GM up a little bit lower than street estimates. What the street was looking for. I've heard reports of 1.5%, 2%, kind of all over the place in that range. The stock ticked a little bit lower in the wake of the news, like the next day, but basically the situation is auto sales are near a record pace right here, but the record pacing of the sales is not being reflected in the stock's price of these different automakers. What's going on with that?
Right. Unlike a lot of other companies, say Amazon, for instance, when they're like, we had the best cyber weekend ever, the stock usually goes up and everyone's like, yeah. Right. These guys are all the automakers are reporting these great numbers and nobody cares. Even just looking at the stock, I can't believe even as a value investor how cheap it is. It's trading at about 7.5 times forward earnings. And I brought up the estimates because they all look real good. They're all trending higher for this year. They're supposed to see earnings growth of 56% this year. And then more good story for next year. Another 12% gain is what the analysts are estimating. You can see them all ticking up for next year, too. But everyone else is worried about this auto bubble, as I keep hearing, that because we're reaching these peak sales, the highest ever, that
could go away.
Yeah, that could go away. I mean, how much higher can it go? How many cars can Americans buy?
Right.
But the average age of people's automobiles is still historically very old. And the job market is good. That's always a thing that boosts auto sales. People are nervous about the Fed raising rates. And so the financing terms could get a little more challenging. But even if they raise rates next month, they're going to go slow. It's not like suddenly you're going to be paying these huge charges to get an auto loan. So I think a lot of that is overdone. And you're getting a 4% yield also with General Motors stock. So what's not to like? I don't get it.
Some have even gone so far as to predict that these car sales figures are going to start taking a turn south next year.
Well, they're saying that because of the tough year-over-year comps, because we're already at the record. You're going to have another new record to, beat what we're already doing. And a lot of people think that just can't be done. But never underestimate, the American consumer, and especially when it comes to cars, because they love them and they're driving these old junkers and they want something new.
So in your mind, this doesn't say anything about a lack of strength in the company?
No, I like what I'm seeing with GM right now, and what they're doing and the product that they're putting out, and so do consumers.
Dave, GM stock has risen at a fairly good pace over the last year. It's kind of expensive relative to other companies in its industry, though.
If you say so.
That's what the numbers are showing.
No, I mean, take a quick look at the chart here. It's done better in the short term than Ford has, certainly. So we're comparing it to them.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you got like the Volkswagen deal where everything's falling apart over there.
Right.
But we've bounced off the bottom here as the market bounced off of the lows, and this thing seems to just keep on trucking. Trucking. But no, the stock looks decent. It's moving in a positive direction. It's got good volume. People are coming and jumping in here. I got the 20-day moving average on there providing support to the downside. So things look okay. On a side note, I spent some time in a Chevy dealership this week. I don't know if you guys know this.
Black Friday.
I was on Black Friday. I drooled all over their Z06 that they had on the showroom floor.
Did they make you wipe it up?
They made me wipe it up, and then I drooled on it again. But no, my parents were there getting a Chevy Colorado. And I don't know the last time you've been in one of these like brand new cars, but it has its own Wi-Fi hotspot inside of the car. It's amazing. So you can hook your phone up. So I think the leap in technology, when you're comparing it, especially with the fleet and the age of the car fleet, right? So if you've got a 2005 car, right, it's kind of going towards the tail end of its existence anyway. When you compare that to what's on the showroom floors, it is night and day across the board. Not just the electronics inside and all the bells and whistles, but the drivability, the safety features, everything. It's just awesome. And Mary Barra has been killing it at GM, and it's a big reason why the stock is doing well, I think. And a quick shout out to Breedeman Chevy for hooking up Mom and Dad too.
Well, yeah, thanks for the Chevy commercial there. I'm sure everybody else appreciates that. Did I read the chart correctly? The stock price had been hitting some resistance a few times here recently.
You know, see, this is the thing. If you look earlier in the year, it butted up against that $39 level, right? And then, so now we're at 36. So I think the real thick band of resistance is still, almost 10% away to the upside. So it'll be interesting to see what shares do when they approach that level. But right now here at 36, I think it's a decent sort of risk-reward scenario, especially when you see all the strength that's been coming into the stock as of late.
So even if the stock price does move higher from this point forward, the strength justifies the higher price.
Sure. There's no momentum like momentum, Terry.
Especially when it's on your side, right?
That's right.
Do either of you own it?
No.
No.
Okay.
I do have a Chevy, though.
Yeah, we got that. Thanks. Check out other stock commentary and stock stories on our website, Zacks.com. Get on over to the homepage, link to them all from there. And a reminder, if you're watching our videos on the YouTube platform, there is where you can subscribe to them and even comment on them, and the feedback's always welcome. With Tracy and Dave, I'm Terry Ruffalo.